there's been a massive change in what used to be the ideal career, choices. Then we had the regular engineering, law, medicine, accounting. So now we have a more, I won't, I don't know the word to use, maybe exotic. we have a more, we have a wider range now, basically, of ideal careers. And so that just made me to really reflect and think of what even inspired our choices then. For me, I'm a law student, and I've had conversations with my colleagues, people who are even lawyers now practicing, and I just asked them, okay, so what inspired you to study law? So for me, what inspired me to study law was I always had this idea growing up that, you know, to be a lawyer means you are fighting for the rights of people, you are protecting the rights of humans, and to be honest, that's always been something I've been passionate about. I really, really detest seeing people, being treated as less than human. So yeah, I was like, I have to fight for people, I have to protect people's rights, and so I chose law. Getting into law, I discovered that wasn't what I bargained for. So literally, I was scammed. And over time, as I continued studying law, I saw that I had a lot of misconceptions. Really, I had a lot of things I wasn't sure about. I didn't have so many questions answered. I just went into law with one goal and one purpose, and at the end of the day, it looked like I wasn't really going to achieve much in that particular um, course. So, doing my research now that I'm older, will I say I regret studying law? Regardless, I think no, I don't regret studying law. I think I regret studying law where I studied it. Maybe that's like the issue. Maybe if I studied it somewhere else, I would have had the opportunity to explore, the field as it was, with many other opportunities for me to actually know what I was doing. So, working now, I think law is not so bad. It's just you. I just feel a lot of people should do their research before proceeding to study it. Going into my discussions with other, lawyers and law students, I've had the most hilarious conversations with people concerning why they wanted to study law. I remember one of my former former colleagues in my place of work was telling me how he was actually tricked because he wanted to be a cattle rearer. He grew up in the northern part of Nigeria, where that's like the common occupation. So he was inspired and he felt like there was a lot of money in cattle rearing. Honestly, I don't think anyone would disagree with that. So his parents were like, "Oh, you have to do something. Okay, you know what? Go to primary school first, and then you can drop out and start your business." And then he finished primary school, and they were like, "Oh, do secondary school," and then he finished. And then they were like, "Oh, you have to do uni and university. So you have to choose something tangible that you will be able to blend in your business." So he told him, "Okay, what happens when people come to harass you and take your cows away from you? What would you do?" And then he thought about it. "Oh, I actually need law to protect me." So he decided, "Okay, I'm going to study law so I will be able to blend in with my cattle rearing business." And lo and behold, when he finished, he discovered that he was actually tricked all the way to study the course. How about one of my friends who told me that she really just saw, I think it was in primary school where we have this career day. That thing actually put the rest of us in trouble those days. you know. So she had career day and she just decided she wanted to wear a wig and gown. And then she really loved how we looked on her. She was like, "Oh, I think I want to do this." And trust me, unlike regular children they have so many confusions about what they want to be. She was so certain she wanted to become a lawyer from primary school. So when she was done, she was like, okay, I'm going to university to study law and I want to wear the wig and gown. That was literally her inspiration to study law. There was another person I spoke with that she really didn't want to. She just, found that she didn't like math. So she ended up in art class. And after that, when it was time for choosing a course, her friends were like, oh, I'm studying law, I'm studying law. She was like, well, that seems to be the only reasonable thing in art class anyway. And so she went on to do law. So I don't know if this system works in other countries, but from the little questions I've asked from people outside Nigeria, I discovered that they didn't have this division into science, art, social science, commerce, and that must have been why they felt like they had too many choices. I remember when I was in secondary school, we had this career fair where a man came and was talking to us, and he was saying, oh, that he's currently 30 or 40, I think late 30s actually, and he said he wasn't sure of what he wanted to be, and that he's currently going back to school to study library. Maybe library education. I was so confused. I was like, okay, this is so random, and to be honest, it feels like waste of money. I was feeling, oh, as an international student, I can imagine wanting to travel to the UK or to Canada, to America, and I'm telling my mom I want to study library. She would just probably tell me that, you know what, there are so many libraries here. How about you do a short course and you start managing one of those libraries? You grow up and you have to reroute your life, you have to recenter your whole life, and just try to get your balance again into what you really want to do. And this whole thing about career choices, I'm beginning to lean more, towards the idea of counseling, career counseling in schools. How about we have, professional counselors who can actually talk to you and let you know the choices you have, and let you know you don't have to make a certain choice based on what the world is saying. It's so funny how down the line the tech industry has blown up so much that everyone wants to go into it. Meanwhile, in those days, like, sorry, I'm saying in those days, it makes me sound very old, but I'm saying like 20, 30 years ago, it was more of you have to do this or nothing. And that goes to show that in the next 20, 30 years, we are going to be experiencing another shift. We are already experiencing another shift actually. So many jobs are going to become extinct even in the next 2 years. So yeah, I think we should really advocate for professional counselors in schools telling you, okay, this career choice you want to make now, this is the pro, this is the con, this is the outlook in the current market, and the future predictions. So that would make things easier, I believe. I think it will make you less confused. I remember I barely had any conversation with anybody concerning what I really wanted to do. It was between psychology, criminology, and law. All those three have certain connections really, and I don't want to go into it because that's not what this episode is about. But at the end of the day, I was discouraged to study psychology or criminology. Why? Because the idea then was, oh, there's no money in this thing. Guess what? In UK, psychology is one of the most demanded courses right now. Like literally, if you have a degree in psychology, you have so much edge in the UK market. Funny, right? And if you ask me, where is law right now? Everyone knows where law is right now. So you are seeing us in sports, you're seeing us in entertainment, you're seeing us even in tech. There are a lot of law firms for startups. Let me put it like that. So a lot of law firms are centering their whole firm on helping startups. So that's what law is trying to do, because we can see and we can tell that if we continue this way of just the general litigation, going to court, coming out, things are really going to get messy in the future. We are really going to have nothing to write home about. Being scammed, I believe that if you are currently in a situation where you did not choose that course, or you are currently studying it, or you have studied it, you are done with your first degree, you still have so many, so many opportunities. You have so much time. I really do not buy into the idea of youth these days thinking that, even with myself, I struggle with it sometimes when you see people ahead and you just feel, oh, I have to do this, I have to quickly get there. Calm down, to be honest. Okay, what if this career is not meant for me and I make a mistake? Then you go back and do the right thing. It's really that simple. And I have, watched so many people I admire, and they inspire me so much. I've heard their stories, and it didn't always start so straightforward. I mean, see Bukwa Awushika, she had a lot of businesses before going into what she's currently into, which now has given her a voice. Literally, she can speak about so many areas because she's experienced in those areas. So never think of these things you've experienced as a waste of time, because truly they are adding to you, they're adding to your development, they're adding to your growth at the end of the day. So it's not a waste of time. It's not okay, it might be a waste of money, to be honest, because schooling these days is very expensive, especially if you want to really change your environment, you want to do something that your name will be remembered for. Try to soak up so many experiences. Don't let anything be a waste. Whether it's a short course, whether it's a summer school, whether it's an online course. Online courses these days are being taken for granted, to be honest. And I think it's because we're now seeing how to make them free. For example, Coursera, EDX. There are a lot of hacks and tricks on how to get the free courses. And so we take these free courses and stop halfway, never get it done, or we just, you know, watch the videos and that's all. We don't jot, you don't take notes. And you really wanted to study it at first, like you really wanted to go through and participate in the short course. So what now happens when after you make those mistakes, you're not thinking, ah, hi, why did I rush? Like, why did I? Because sometimes you can actually be so sure that this is what I want to do, and at the end of the day, discover that you actually made a mistake. So don't rush, take your time. If it's an online course and you feel like you don't have the time for it, then pace out your schedule. Know how you're going to fit in, know how you're going to time yourself. If you are really that person who you want to get things done but you don't know why you don't just get it done, then get accountability partners. Get someone you could just call and say, oh, so I'm taking this course. Okay, for example, this episode now, the last episode was towards International Women's Day, and I hope you've listened to that episode. We had Mrs. Foluke Akimoladu, a very intelligent, excellent woman who shared her experience down from university to where she is now as a managing partner of a top maritime law firm in Nigeria. So yeah, that episode, since then we've not had any episode, and I've had people actually call me and say you have to release an episode, not because they are particularly in law, like that's not their field, but they really know that I am accountable to them. So they're checking up to see I am doing the right thing. So you have to have people like that in your life who just push you, tell you, oh, you are really not meeting up with this, you have to do that. So yeah, that's another part of everything. So what do you do when you've been scammed? Again, another thing I would advise you to do is that you should study the global market. As funny as this sounds, yeah, I feel like if I studied the global market, I would have made choices suitable for me, in the sense that now there are a lot of immigration rules, especially for people who want to move from one country to another. You have to study that country's global market, but that's like another story for another day. So generally, just study the global market, then study that country's market, then study occupations in high demand. Generally, there are occupations that, as funny as it sounds, they may really not exist in some years to come, and those courses are still being studied in school. So what does this mean? It means that a large percent of people would end up having to take, maybe another degree or a higher degree course or a certificate course. So that can even be an opportunity for entrepreneurs. You can set up an academy of some sort that focuses on courses like this, that focuses on the hot cakes literally, and you teach them, maybe get some approval from the government or whatever, that gives you the authority to grant certificates. So that's another business idea. You're welcome. So yeah, I believe it's very important to study the market, because you really can't tell the tide. COVID really opened our eyes to things that, oh, really, really, we don't know what we are doing in this earth, like humans generally. We are at the mercy of a lot of things. We are at the mercy of climate change. We are at the mercy of war. We are at the mercy of instability, inflation. So don't really depend. That's why you have to be so flexible. You have to be willing to learn. The day you stop learning is the day you actually start dying, because you have to be open to learning, be open to taking new taking in new experiences, learning new things. Don't say, oh, this is what I want to do, so that's like the only thing I'm going to be focused on. A lot of people want to go into tech, but they don't know how. That's one category. Then there are some people that really want to go into tech, but they don't want to go into it because it's popular. I mean, it's cool when you make that decision for movies. I know people that don't watch popular movies. Like, once the blockbuster and everyone is talking about it, they begin to lose interest. That's like cool for movies, for music. But we're talking about your career here. We're talking about your future. You can't be rigid when it comes to decisions like that. Be open to learning. Be open to asking questions from people who are experts in this field. And when I say expert, I'm not talking about someone who declares themselves to be an expert. I'm talking about someone who actually gains income from that sector, steady income that you can trace. So lastly, what will I say about what to do when you get scammed? I would say you should take a lot of time meditating and thinking. It's alright to take a break, to just think. It's not being depressed. It's being a part of you, that a part of your soul that meditates, that thinks. If you're a religious person, I'm a Christian, and I believe so much in receiving power from the Holy Spirit, from God, and I depend so much on His voice that I really am afraid to make any decision without hearing His voice. In fact, once I'm not sure, okay, this thing is not, people actually laugh at me sometimes when I say it, but really, I'm being serious. If I say something is not connecting with me, with my spirit, I know that there's a place for me to sit, meditate, and actually think of whether this is what God wants me to do. Because I'm not really interested in anything God doesn't want me to do, to be honest. If His hand is not on it, I'm out quick before you can blink, to be honest. Oh, that was a rhyme. That was a good one. So yeah, have that time, that quiet time. Don't just be up and doing, busy, 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 busy. I am a very restless person. I want to do something. I want to, that type of person. I wake up and my mind is already in 20 places. Oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this, I need to do that. Sometimes calm down, literally, like, take it easy. Sit down and think, meditate, pause, breathe. Sometimes that is really all you need to get your mind recentered on what really matters. Because sometimes we are so focused with money being a driver, being, a driving force, that we forget that when this money is made, we now think of how it should be spent. So money is always there for you to think about. Money is always there for you to spend. Money is always there for you to gain. Don't make money be the drive. Sometimes just think and try to strategize on how you want to actually earn this income, how you want to live. I've been so inspired by Abisola Longe, another one of my mentors that I look up to, and She believes so much in planning and productivity that she has a planner on it. And for the year 2022, I've been working with that planner like no man's business. Do you know what that planner has done for me? It has made me realize that there are so many angles of our lives, and when one is deficient, it literally can run the whole system down. For example, your health. If you're not taking care of your health, it might look like nothing is wrong and everything is fine until one day, it just switches up on you and you discover that there's something wrong and you can't do anything until you fix it. Same thing with, romance. Where we talk about breakups and how breakup can actually disorient you. When there's a breakup ongoing, trust me, your career or education might be the last thing coming to your head. Same thing with your health. You might not even be thinking of eating, you just be so down. Same thing for people who are spiritual. For Christians, when you find out that you've gone so many days without praying, without connecting to God, without hearing His voice, without studying the Word, you discover that one day you just feel so down in your spirit and you really can't function. In fact, you start doing things that you didn't know you were capable of doing and you didn't want to do. You discover that you start doing them. So, yeah, take time to plan. And I really hope that this episode would, redirect you in one way or the other. It's okay to be scammed, but make sure you don't scam yourself twice. So, if you were scammed before, then this time around, make sure you don't scam yourself. Be true to yourself, and life will be good to you. Have a great day.